I'm Susan from Tarjac. You may know us as the source for the best camo for your guns and bows, but we do so much more. Our custom work with automotive parts can transform any vehicle, our ATVs, sleds, four-wheelers, motorcycles. We've received national recognition for our work with Orange County Choppers, and we are most proud of our partnership with the future servicemen by providing customized helmets for the Army-Navy game. From the national stage to your favorite hunting ground, it's Tarjac.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the CNY Business Connection. I'm Jason Weinstein. Coming up on this episode, Bob Stezzi from Stezzi Training and Consulting has some tips for you to take your motivation to the next level. Plus, with spring here and spring showers here as well, we'll give you some tips on how to avoid roofing scams. But we'll begin with the latest in business news from around the area.
'Tis the season for graduations, including 12 new entrepreneurs, introducing the Entrepreneurial Assistant Program's Spring 2011 graduating class. The graduates spent the last 10 weeks learning all about how to start their own businesses, how to create a business plan, and how to start contributing to the local economy.
Larger businesses are struggling in this area, so it really is the entrepreneur that we're looking to help us get more people employed and keep them in the area.
I think starting a business can be very scary, and sometimes you want to do it, but you have low self-confidence. So I think that this really, just having that support network after you graduate from the class is really helpful.
They offer technical assistance, and I think that was also a helpful part of the class. You can meet with someone outside of class to discuss your specific concerns about your business and review your business plan, and I did take advantage of that. That was very helpful.
The new business ideas ranged from freezing local crops to photography to tutoring kids in writing. What if you knew exactly what type of jobs will be available a few years before you're actually ready to start sending out your resume? Well, that's exactly what BOCES students did. With some help from the Broome-Tioga Workforce Center, BOCES held an informational career fair. The goal, keeping students in the area after they finish college or have completed service in the armed forces.
There may not be many jobs right now today that some of these businesses are offering, but at least the businesses can tell them the career opportunities they see coming in the future, so we will not lose a lot of the youth from the area.
Hall says one purpose of the event is to be a great trial run for students, prepping them on how to approach businesses in the future.
Thanks to the movie Gasland, we've all seen well water burst into flame. People down in Dimock, PA blame nearby Marcellus shale gas wells. But the drilling company says well water in that area has always had a lot of gas in it. The Duke study sides with the homeowners. Researchers came to Susquehanna and Bradford counties, where they checked 50 water wells at varying distances from natural gas wells.
We noticed that as the distance between these two types of wells becomes closer and closer, the methane concentration in many of the wells increased to levels above levels that the Department of Interior has recommended for mitigation.
The gas industry is slamming the findings, saying more data is needed, something Osborne agrees with. He says he wants to work with industry to sample water wells before and after shale gas development.
And as natural gas extraction continues to expand into areas like Brooklyn Township and Montrose, we'll already have that data as baseline, and we can see how that progresses. And if we can coordinate and work with industry, which is something that we want to do, we can address a lot of these scientific problems more thoroughly.
One thing the gas industry likes about the Duke study, it found no evidence that fracking fluid is getting into wells, something that shale gas opponents say could happen.
Assemblywoman Donna Lupardo of Endicott wants toxic chemicals more closely monitored by the federal government. And now the New York State Assembly has unanimously approved a Lupardo-sponsored resolution that would do just that. The measure would require an update of the Federal Toxic Substances Control Act, or the TSCA. In the past, Lupardo has cited chemical contamination and vapor intrusion from the IBM chemical spill in Endicott. She's also calling on the EPA to issue national guidelines for trichloroethylene, or TCE. In the meantime, she wants to require New York State to set acceptable levels of TCE in indoor spaces. New York State Attorney General's office has successfully sued the Romano Travel Agency for more than $114,000 to be paid to victims as restitution. Travel agents Gail Romano and Gary Swatling operated Romano Travel, which used to have locations in several areas, including the town of Union, before it was shut down. The AG's office says in many cases, customers paid all costs up front, only to find out at the last minute that their money never went to pay for the trip.
So I feel bad for these people. I mean, they've worked hard. They're entitled to their break. Some people, it was their trip of a lifetime that they end up having a nightmare as a result.
Now, if this money cannot be collected, the victims are unfortunately simply out of luck. Among the clients who paid for trips the agency never provided, a couple planning a 50th wedding anniversary cruise, and newlyweds who saved up for a honeymoon vacation.
We hope you enjoyed that. When we come back, with spring here and spring showers pelting the roofs of local homes, if you need a new roof done, some things you need to watch out for. Plus, the latest bit of business wisdom from someone who has lived it, thanks to our friends at Prendismo.com.
I'm Norm Poltenson. I've published the Central New York Business Journal for 25 years. Our success is based on the fact that we know only one audience, owners and managers of businesses in Central New York. We publish stories for them, we don't offer sound bites, and we always source our information. Maybe technology's changed since I started publishing 25 years ago, but not our mission. You can always rely on the Central New York Business Journal providing your business news.
Welcome back. Spring is here, as are the spring showers, and that can be putting some stress on your roof, especially after a snowy winter. But if you need a new roof, what can be done to avoid a roofing scam? Here are some tips.
One look, and you can tell that the company doing this job is on the up and up. The workers are tethered to safety lines, and a contractor obeying that and other OSHA rules is not likely to be cutting corners elsewhere. But it does cost more to follow the rules, and that gives fly-by-night operators their opening.
Over the years, our biggest competitor has become, I guess, what you would call the underground economy, people that were willing to do business on a cash basis. They don't report anything to the IRS or state tax people. They don't have insurance, and of course that makes them much less expensive than somebody who's a contractor is playing by the rules.
But often, what you don't pay for, you don't get. This complaint to the Better Business Bureau from a Binghamton area homeowner is typical. I hired a roofing contractor to repair my roof and gave him $250 as a deposit on the deal he offered. Now I am out money that I can't afford to lose. If you're asked for a partial payment up front, demand to see proof that the money is in escrow under your name. And while you're at it, demand to see one of these proof of insurance forms.
Because roofing business, as you can imagine, is dangerous, and if somebody falls, the attorneys are going to look for anybody and everybody that they could go after, and the first person is going to be the homeowner.
To find a list of reputable local contractors, go to the website of the Southern Tier Home Builders and Remodelers Association, sthbra.com.
We hope you found that helpful. Time now to turn things over to our friends at Prendismo.com, partnering with entrepreneurs for success. And this week's bit of business wisdom from someone who has lived it: why business plans need a good dose of vision and a good dose of common sense.
I think personally, and a lot of people who look at investment opportunities, if you are lucky, they read the executive summary. They mainly occasionally ask for the people to do a business plan, because I think to do a good business plan, it takes a few months, 3 months. It takes research. You have to describe the competition. You have to describe your own product. And it also shows the commitment of the team to the idea and the process. So for me, when I look at the business plan, is if I read the first couple of paragraphs and then glance at the financial numbers, I want to see, does this team have common sense? Does this team know what they want to do in what market? and then how much effort they have put in it, putting it together. And part of the business plan, especially if you do it as a team, it builds the team character. So similar to being successful is a journey. I think part of evaluating a business opportunity, and I'm a big fan of small business plan, is it really creates, are you guys the right match for each other, and is the market big enough? I think the process is just as important as the final result. And sometimes a team, the most famous one is Mr. Hewlett and Packard. They just knew they want to work together, but they didn't know what business they're going to do. And if during the business plan process you learn that you could work well together, that is a big accomplishment.
We hope you enjoyed that. When we come back, Bob Stezzi stops by with some tips on taking your motivation to the next level.
I'm Norm Poltenson. I've published the Central New York Business Journal for 25 years. Our success is based on the fact that we know only one audience, owners and managers of businesses in Central New York. We publish stories for them, we don't offer sound bites, and we always source our information. Maybe technology's changed since I started publishing 25 years ago, but not our mission. You can always rely on the Central New York Business Journal providing your business news.
Welcome back. Just do it. It's a popular marketing phrase, but it's also one that speaks to the idea of getting up and getting things done. Just how can you take your motivation to the next level? Bob Stezzi has some tips.
How motivated are you? Motivation is very important. It's a key component to our business success and our career success. What we're going to talk about today is 3 ways that you can take your motivation to the next level. Dr. Daniel Goleman identified 3 competencies that can help anyone to improve their level of motivation. The first competency is achievement drive. People with this competency have a high drive to meet objectives and standards. They set challenging goals and they take calculated risks. They pursue information to reduce uncertainty and to find better ways of doing things. They're also fanatics about learning information and feedback to help them to improve their level of performance. The second motivation competency is commitment. People with this competency are driven by the vision, mission, and values of the organization. They go out of their way to make sure that they're helping the organization to meet its objectives. They use the core values of the organization in decision making, and they seek ways to help the organization to meet its mission. The third competency is very important. It's initiative and optimism. People with this competency rapidly seize opportunities. They pursue goals beyond requirements and expectations. They also cut red tape, and they're willing to bend the rules a little if that's what it takes to get the job done. They also can be very helpful in motivating other people. And they optimistically pursue their own goals in spite of setbacks and failures. They look at those things as learning experiences. In other words, they tend to operate from strength than out of fear of failure. During difficult times, it's essential that we keep our motivation online. Using these 3 competencies will help you take your motivation to the next level. If you'd like more information on how to be more self-motivated, contact Stezzi Training for an in-house workshop or for some one-on-one coaching. Thank you very much.
And that does it for this episode of the CNY Business Connection. Thank you very much for joining us. Until next time, I'm Jason Weinstein. Have a good one.